how you guys doing? Mike here from Tires to Go, and today I'm going to inform you about the amazing tools that Tires to Go provide to get the customers what they need. As you know, we have the real same as cash, but we also have Snap financing. We use Snap pretty much to provide the customers the same equipment as they were buying cash on payments. Isn't that amazing? Pretty much what we do, you come indoors, we get you the application right away, we'll get you approved, and we'll get you the safe, affordable tires that you need and pay it off in 3 months. Simple, easy, affordable. Why not come to Tires to Go, where you get the real, same as cash.
At Life's a Beach Realty, we're all about life on the beach. Stunning Panama City Beach and one of the most beautiful properties on the Gulf Coast, Shores of Panama. Radiant, elegant, and spectacular. Steps away from white sugar sand, every room overlooks the turquoise of the Gulf of Mexico. Come in for your tour today. Life's a Beach Realty is your gateway to Shores of Panama, the shores, and a whole lot more.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Sports Talk 49. And as usual, listen, when you look at, it's 3:30. When you look at your watch, it's time to pick up your phone and watch Sports Talk 49 live here, always on Bucs Report every Tuesday at 3:30. Make sure to check out all the other great shows here on Bucs Report. We got actually got a pretty good schedule for you today. We got let me put that up for you. You've got the Ask Me Anything with Nick Citro that was on at 2. You got the A-Gap between 7 and 8 on YouTube. You got Alcat coming up tonight, and you got the Sports Web finishing up with Peter Blake as always. But today is going to be a fun day because I get to have the great Allison Koehler on, and she's going to talk about what she's got going on. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but she's got stuff that she's going to talk about, and we're going to go back and forth here a little bit because it's always fun. She's like my sister from another mother, Miss Allison Koehler. So what we're gonna do here today, we're gonna talk about the NFL referees opting out. We're gonna talk about Vaughn coming back. We're gonna talk about the DeAndre Baker situation, other stuff. I'm sure Allison's got some stuff she's gonna talk about, and I know a few things about what's going on up there in Steeler Nation as well. She covers it. She covers the Steelers. So first, we're gonna show you some clips from last week training camp, and when we come back from those clips from training camp, we're gonna go to Allison. And then we're just going to go through everything because I know she's got a full schedule. She's got stuff to do today. So I want to make sure to get to her first and then go from there. So you guys check out these last week videos from training camp, Buccaneers training camp. And then when we come back, we're going to bring on Allison Koehler and we're going to go from there. Check this out. right, there you go. Checking out everything from the training camp last week. A lot of stuff. Quarterbacks, Ned Reed, everybody was there. But as I promised, I don't want to keep you waiting. Somebody who's much better looking on camera than I am. As I said before, my sister from another mother, Miss Allison Koehler. Let me get her introduction in here properly. There she is. How you doing, Allison?
That is awesome. I love it. Very nice. Very nice. I am doing great, Blake. How about yourself, man?
That was good. It's been too long that we get back here on the camera all together, man.
Don't do that true, to me, man. Yeah.
Everybody, if you don't know who she is, that's Allison Killshot Koehler. Was that it was USA Today? USA yes. Today Steelers Wire.
Exactly. You got it right, man.
So what you got for us today? Go on, Allison. I'm gonna follow your lead.
Ooh, yeah, man. I mean, there's it's training camp. Started a couple weeks ago, and next week, it's going to be a real big week because they're going to be putting on pads and actually contacting each other. So I think while the league has done a great job, and the Steelers especially have done a great job in terms of keeping everybody safe. I mean, you're not hearing anything in terms of players getting COVID within camp anyway. Mm-hmm. So that's a good sign, but obviously they haven't been, there's been no contact yet. So that'll be interesting to kind of keep your eye on in terms of whether, that changes, whether, the virus, you would think that the virus, is going to creep up once they start getting in each other's grills and things, but hopefully it won't.
Right. I mean, for the most part, everything's pretty much social distancing as far as throwing the ball and stuff like that, running routes for the most part, except when you got to get too close to each other and
right.
implement, where you want on certain routes and things like that. Of course, you have to get kind of close. And from what I understand at Bucs training camp, they have little buzzers on them where groups can't get too close to each other, and media has that as well.
Right.
I'm sure something's going on like that in Steelers camp as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you're covering the Steelers. You're talking to interviewing players and you're doing all those type of things. So I got a question: Is Juju Smith-Schuster going to take on that number one wide receiver role after having such success as a young receiver coming in with such high expectations?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I know that especially after Antonio Brown left, from the media to the fans, they were looking immediately to crown Juju the number one receiver. And I mean, I know Juju's never going to admit it, but I'm sure some of it got to his head, maybe a little bit of, maybe there was that extra pressure there because he didn't have Antonio Brown. He needed to just be this amazing receiver. And I don't really think I think that they're trying to downplay having a number one at all. I mean, I think that they have a really young group of wide receivers there in Pittsburgh. And I think that they really want to make it more of a unit than having a number one guy and a number two guy. I mean, of course you have your depth chart, and Juju is going to be number one on the depth chart, but I think that they have so many guys, including their draft pick, Chase Claypool, who it's kind of hard to tell, since he's a rookie and with the abbreviated offseason, I don't know, how much they're going to be able to incorporate him right away. But I definitely think that, there's a lot of people expecting Juju to have a great season this year. And I think last year was just, obviously he regressed, he had an injury where he didn't play for a few games, and without Ben Roethlisberger, it's really hard to get to tell. You know what I mean? If Roethlisberger was in there, you know what I mean, maybe his numbers would have been different. I mean, the injury, obviously, you can't foresee that. You know what I mean? But it's like, he needs to have a great season. However, he's going to be a free agent next year. So, and with the cap going down, the Steelers are already strapped. So they're already in the red without having done anything
right
for the next salary cap. So they're kind of screwed because they have to pay their defensive their defensive tackle Cam Hayward.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not really going to have, unless they restructure, unless they restructure Ben's contract, which is sucking the money out of out of everywhere. Unless they restructure it, or which they're known to do, they're going to have to eventually extend Ben Roethlisberger in order for there to be any kind of cash flow whatsoever. So I don't see, in short, I don't see Juju being a Steeler next year, especially if he has a good year. He's gonna demand, that he be paid appropriately, and you can't blame a receiver for that. But don't see that the Steelers are going to be able to afford him, especially if he has the kind of year that he's expected to have in 2020.
Absolutely. So, I know you cover the Steelers. I've followed the Steelers for a long time, so I got quite in depth some stuff on Steelers, and I'm agree with you on a lot of the stuff, especially when it comes to the wide receiver position, especially with drafting Chase Claypool out of Notre Dame, which is a receiver I like. Kind of reminds me of a Plaxico Burress at the size he has. So we'll see if he has the same success as Plaxico Burress.
Right.
With that being said, it shows you the repeated nature of what the Steelers do at the wide receiver position. It is not a place they overpay and they didn't overpay Hines Ward, and he was the only one that left on his own terms. Hines Ward's resume speaks for itself. I'm not going to give you guys a history lesson, but it shows it was Antonio Brown, Santana Moss, the list goes on. As far as wide receivers go, they will not overpay for wide receivers because it is an intangible position, but they will pay their quarterbacks. They have a tendency to keep running backs at times if you're that guy. James Conner, the story isn't written as well yet for that as well. But I agree with you on that. Juju might not come back next year unless he has a subpar season, settles for a subpar contract, and if he wants to stay as a Steeler. And his best bet, I'm not sure, because you don't know what's going to happen yet as far as at the quarterback position and things like that. Going on in the future. And let's talk into a little bit of that as well. That's why I brought up the wide receiver first before we got into the quarterback, because they're both playing the part. You're right. You don't know what's it gonna look like with Ben being out and you having those two backup quarterbacks that didn't play it well at all last year. It was awful. And then you had this offseason, like, I don't know where your opinion was on that when Nick Citro mentioned that the Steelers offered Jameis Winston a contract. And then later they said everybody in Steelers Nation, and a lot of people said it never happened. And then later, a week later, they were interested in Andy Dalton. So you can take wherever you want to stand on that standpoint. I can't blame the Steelers if they really did look for a backup quarterback, because you saw what happens last year. Once you get your starting quarterback goes off, it's an immediate huge drop off. There's nothing far in between. It's from I wouldn't say Ben's playing at a Hall of Fame, but a decent starter to somebody who probably won't make some people's teams. That was the drop off, and there was no in between the quarterback from the starter to the bench. So you got to have some intermediate there somewhere. And I'm not sure if at some point all the players can't be just bitter because they're leaving. And I'm looking at Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. There's some truth into it a little bit. Is Ben really that unworkable? Does he really not want a guy backing him up? Because you're not helping the team if you go down hurt. So if this is true, I said, if you're that dissatisfied if they pick up another quarterback, and if you go down, there's nothing else behind you. That's kind of selfish, in my opinion. Where you stand on all that?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. When they first drafted Mason, Ben was like, I'm not gonna mentor this guy. I'm not gonna show him the ropes. You know what I mean? Because Ben's thing is that he has said on a few different occasions over the past 5 or 6 years that he might retire. So it's like, you really can't sit on that. You really can't just be like, he's not going to retire. You know what I mean? Because it's like, he's a franchise quarterback. Franchise quarterbacks don't grow on trees. You know what I mean? So it's like, you have to be prepared for something like that. And the Steelers just aren't ready, to admit that they really need to bring somebody in. I mean, Mason, don't get me wrong, he was 5-3 last year, and I really think Helmet Gate. I think once Miles
Helmet Gate,
just hit him over the head with that helmet, he was never the same, and who would be, right? So it's like, and I think that Mason is one of the guys that actually having an abbreviated offseason it affects him, because he would have had more. He would have had more reps. You know what I mean? In training camp, had there been a standard training camp and OTAs, you know what I mean? He would have had more time, to develop. And again, I don't really see Mason. I mean, he might be a stopgap if the Steelers are lazy and they end up not drafting a quarterback who is a starter. Mm-hmm. He might be a stopgap, maybe a Band-Aid, you know what I mean? But they went through that with Neil O'Donnell and Cordell Stewart, and they went through some rough years where Bubby Brister, they were just bad. And I just don't want to see that for them. I mean, not every team has a luxury of having a back-to-back franchise quarterback, you know what I mean? Because it's hard to come by, but I really do think that they need to start.
It's time.
Addressing. But again, it's like if the Steelers, they're usually toward the end of the draft selection in the first round. So it's like you see those top quarterbacks, those guys who have the ability to be a franchise quarterback, you can go early. So I mean, it's gonna be. I'm just glad that I'm not Kevin Colbert. You know what I mean? I'm glad I'm not in their draft room, because it's like I don't even know, how they're going to go about trying to find his predecessor.
And then here goes, and I have a question for that. If you guys just tuning in, this is Sports Talk49 Live with Mr. Blake Anthony and with a special guest, Allison Killshot Koehler from USA Today Steelers Wire. I don't know where the beef and the animosity came from, because it didn't seem to have an issue when they picked up Mike Vick. Mm-hmm. When they picked up Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich, which all worked out. Was that because it was the Arians there and was able to work with Ben and get it? I don't know. There's a lot of questions that we won't have answered, and there's some stuff you may never know. But it's just maybe he just doesn't want to deal with a young guy. He'd rather deal with a veteran. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. It might just be because those guys have experience, and Ben doesn't really have to do anything with those guys.
Right. I said, and he doesn't really want to have to hold somebody's hand. He'd rather be a veteran. Hey, boom, boom, bam. He knows what to do too, and they don't have to sit here and hold the play sheet and point at stuff and go through. Maybe he just doesn't want to deal with that, which I can get at a certain point, because at the end of the day, I mean, it's really not Ben's job to coach up that quarterback. It's the coach's job, to be quite honest.
Right.
But yeah, I guess that has to be it. Maybe it has to be, maybe he wants a veteran in there, and maybe that's why the Steelers were looking at Jameis Winston, or were looking at Andy Dalton and things like that, which, like I said before, it's a wise move after what just happened to you last year. But the one thing that I've always been intrigued, and I've always watched the Steelers, even though I would never call myself a Steeler fan, but I respect. First and foremost, I love the game, and I love players on teams and things like that. So I look at everybody's teams and look at the way they run their teams. And the one thing I've always admired about watching the Steelers is that they maintain the same identity. And when I say that, after week 4, if I'm not mistaken, after they played the New England Patriots, and I cannot remember who the starting free safety was that game. I showed the tape here when I was showing Tom Brady's arm and things like that. That safety got roasted on multiple plays by Josh Gordon over the top deep by not reading the side adjustments and things like that. And Tom Brady was able to beat him deep multiple times that game. And what happened in the ensuing, I think it was a week or 2 weeks, insert Micah Fitzpatrick. Safety position was certainly changed right after that game. I think Tom Brady threw for almost 400 yards that game against the Steelers secondary. Was horrendous. Now there's no more Ike Taylor back there. There's no more Troy Polamalu. There's no more Ryan Clarks. There's no more of those guys back there anymore. So of course you got to find new faces to fit these old names. So you got a guy that fits that kind of system. It's the same thing I said with Seattle when you got Jamal Adams. Those guys fit those identities, because that's the identity. Those are the players that they match that team's identity. And Micah Fitzpatrick was the perfect guy to fit that, because he is a box over the top range safety to kind of play like Troy Polamalu. Troy Polamalu will tell you he guessed a lot on those routes, but he guessed more right than he was wrong. The only one that he was really wrong on was Steelers when they played the Broncos against Tim Tebow, and Oh yeah, when the wide receiver caught the pass over the slant, that was actually Troy Polamalu's zone. He came down and played in the box and couldn't get back over top in time. It was Demarius Thomas. That was
Right. Yes.
That was actually Troy's spot. But those are the kind of things that happen. He makes those guesses, and sometimes he's right, and sometimes he's wrong.
Right.
But they always have an identity, and the other thing they always have is big backs, which I was surprised they didn't get none of those big backs out of it. I guess they still believe in James Conner, that he got something left in the tank, but they always have an identity of a big back there, and those are just some of the things that the Steelers always have. That's always their identity. They're easy to understand, and they keep the same regimen going year in, year out.
Right. Yeah, I was really disappointed. I mean, this is going back months now, but I was really disappointed that they didn't take a running back with their first because I kind of thought that, their wide receiver group was good enough to wait until, the third round maybe to select a wide receiver, especially because the group was so deep this year. But I really was kind of hoping, I was really pulling for J.K. Dobbins. And of course, the Ravens selected him. And I was like, oh, like, not only, did the Steelers not select J.K. Dobbins, but if he's any good, and he should be, we're going to have to face him twice a year and maybe one time in the playoffs. So it's
you got him. You got him in your division, just not on your team. And you got to see him twice a year.
Yeah.
And if he does have big games against the Steelers, you're just going to start grinding your teeth. That's the guy you want.
Exactly.
To me, honestly, the guy I thought that fits the Steelers motto was the young back that went to the Colts out of Wisconsin. James, what was his name? It's slipping my mind now. We know what you're talking about. Came out of Wisconsin. Colts. That's a guy that was played in the North in Wisconsin, would have acclimated great into the Pittsburgh regime. But I guess the Steelers believe in James Conner right now.
And that just kind of confuses me because it's like, again, he's another one that's going to be a free agent, and he's from Pittsburgh though. So unless he's okay with Jonathan Taylor, by the way, that's
Jonathan Taylor. I knew it was a J.
I had to look it up because I was like, it's like one of those things you just got to look.
He fit that Steelers regimen.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And he's a pass catcher too, which is nice. But yeah, James Conner is just one of those things where, unless he takes a hometown discount, you know what I mean? Just to kind of stay in Pittsburgh, because I don't really see him unless he blows it up this year, which, he had a decent year in 2018. And that was also the year that Ben Roethlisberger had a career season. So it wasn't that long ago, but he also hasn't been able to stay healthy for an entire season since he's been drafted. So that's the main concern. It's not a production concern so much with Conner. It's a health concern. And that's just something that you really can't forecast. You really can't avoid sometimes injuries. So if he can stay healthy and he has a nice season, maybe he'll go somewhere else as in free agency and become a starter. But I don't see that happening. So hopefully, if he has a somewhat okay season, maybe like I said, maybe he'll sign for a hometown discount. But again, they really need to address, because like you said, they've always been their run game, even though it's more of a passing league now. They've always had, a kick-ass running back, and James Conner just doesn't seem to fit that bill.
No, he doesn't. I just don't. When you look at him, great story, beat cancer, played in college there, went there, had success early, but that's been pretty much it. It seems like he's peaked out. Now that's it. That's what it feels. I know you probably feel the same way. It feels like he peaked out.
Yeah.
That's it. Great story. I guess it's time to move on. There's one position that I know the Steelers have been waiting to replace that they have not done in a long time, and that is trying to replace the skeletons in the closet of the production Heath Miller had for so long. They could not find a tight end to replace that for so long, to go along with the run game that we were talking about with your tight end being wide open. They have not been able to replace that. Allison, I don't know how much time you got, but there's a couple guys that got questions in the chat. I don't know how much. I don't know if you got to go anywhere. I'll get to some of them. All right. Somebody like my saying, no ma'am, sister from another mister. Is that what it's called? Sister from another mister? Or I'm gonna steal that one.
Right.
Says, what's up?
Just because it rhymes, sister, mister,
How many records will Brady break this year? To be quite honest, I don't think you guys are gonna see a whole lot of you might get 4,000 yards passing. I don't think it's going to be the Jameis Winston offense because you're not going to be able to throw that much because you're not going to be down that much that early with Tom Brady unless the defense plays absolutely awful and they're scoring on every offensive possession. That's the only way I think he's going to be throwing for that many yards. But I think everybody's just thinking with all these wide receivers, Tom Brady's going to throw for astronomical numbers. I just don't see that happen. That's just not his game. He's going to take what's given, win the game as you're going to win, and that's it. And that's all he should do at 43 years of age. He's not 25. That's it. No. He's trying to save his arm for you guys got to think 16 games, getting hit, going through all that, and the heat he's never played in like this is all new for him. And I don't think that he's going to break that many records. I think he's going to do his job and he's going to be Tom Brady. I don't think he's going to be breaking crazy records like that. What do you think, Allison?
No, I agree. I mean, I don't really know. I haven't followed the Bucs since I stopped working for Bucs Report, but is the passion there for him? I mean, is he gonna have time? My main concern is he gonna have time, in the pocket, to be able to find his receivers and
Jameis Winston being sacked 47 times last year.
Exactly.
That's why they spent the first pick on offensive lineman. Hopefully, Donovan Smith can hold up and the rest of the line can hold up. But the only other part with that. It's like a double-edged sword. Tom Brady has a tendency to make offensive linemen look better than they are. Look at Nate Soldier, left and went to the Giants. Oh my God, he looks awful now. Right. And it could be because Tom Brady gets rid of the ball so quick that even if you get beat on a block, the ball's gone already. So you didn't get noticed. So I mean, we'll just have to see. A lot of it. We just got to wait and see. There's really a lot of questions with this vertical offense, and then with the poor pass blocking at some instances. With the team and having a 43-year-old quarterback and seeing what kind of beatings he can take if it's going to happen because there are going to be times.
I think he's like the second most. I mean, I was surprised. He's one of the top 5 most sacked quarterbacks in the history of the NFL, and I only know that because he's right around where Ben is.
Right.
Really surprised to see, but so yeah, man, 43 years old. If he gets sacked, he could break something. You know what I mean?
And it's a good thing that you brought up that with the Big Ben. There was a couple of years where the Steelers addressed the offensive linemen because there was a year it was horrendous with the Steelers offensive line. Ben was literally running for his life, and Ben's not really running that far. Not like when he was young Ben. Because when he was young Ben, he could move a little bit. But Big Ben now, he just slides in the pocket and tries to shake a dude off. There's no running anymore. But there was a time where the offensive line was horrendous in Pittsburgh, and they addressed it as they always do, as you should. Get a running back, take some of the heat off of them, and then you just get it downfield to these receivers when Ben breaks a tackle. I think Will Mann said something about huge ego. I think he's talking about Juju Smith-Schuster. Will, I don't know, Allison may have more insight. I don't think he got that point where he was like a huge diva. I mean, any person that has some type of success, you start having a little swagger to you. You think you think you're more than you are. I mean, that just happens when you have a little bit of success, but then you humble yourself again. I don't think it was that bad, Will. I think it was like a lot what Allison said. Everybody automatically crowned him king. I say he didn't earn the king title yet. And then when he came to the plate to be the king, you didn't deliver. You was more like a jester instead of a king. And it might have to do with the quarterback. It might be him. They're going to find out. Going to find out in 2020. So I don't think it was ego. What do you think? You don't think so either, right?
No. I mean, he's young, so he does have that swagger, you know what I mean? Because he's a young guy, you know what I mean? And he just thinks he's cool and everything. But I haven't really noticed him ever come out and, be like AB ego-wise, you know what I mean?
Nothing like that.
Never be like AB, but yeah, we'll definitely see, what happens. I'm just so excited. I mean, I know that everybody is excited about the season, but I think more so this year because of everything that's going on and all the moving parts, like what if Tom Brady gets COVID the day before the game, or what if Ben Roethlisberger gets COVID the day before the game? We're definitely going to see, you know what I mean? There could be some major starters who end up having to sit out for a game or two. And
this year is going to be, GMs are going to be tested, especially with the word. You're going to hear this word 1,000 times in 2020. Depth. You're going to hear that word 1,000 times this season. Speaking of depth and talking about Pittsburgh Steelers, let's talk to a guy who's actually in Pittsburgh. It's Johnny Bean.
Hi, Johnny.
Pittsburgh is filled with quality depth. There goes that word. and
Right.
vets that have big advantage over younger teams this year. I think Juju is a great number 2 guy, but it is yet to be seen and cannot carry that number 1 spot. What we just said, literally.
Right.
Just said that. And it could be the quarterback. I can give him the benefit of the doubt. Could be the quarterback. But you will find out in 2020. And as you said earlier, it's coming to a contract year. And these wide receivers and these guys that last year you're trying to get paid. Miraculously, the effort goes up. Funny how that works out. The effort goes up the last year in the contract.
And sometimes
they turn beast mode on, or is it paycheck time?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Sometimes after they get that contract, it's like, whoa, okay. Sometimes after you get that contract, they're just like, okay, I got paid. I'm just gonna, do
Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley. Oh, yeah, you're right, Allison. You're right. Christopher Cole, if they test negative whenever they come in the building, they should be okay to tackle. Yes. I mean, he tested negative. Why would you hold him out?
Right.
I agree. What do you think?
Yeah.
All right. Steelers don't like to pay players. Juju is leaving. That's what we just said. Steelers have known history to not overpay at the wideout position. They didn't even overpay Hines Ward. And he is. When you say Steelers, you can't go without names Win Swan and Hines Ward. You can't go without saying those names. Yep. Fleming showing some love. AK. Is that Allison Koehler? AK. Big 10, Pac-12, and MAC have all pulled off the college seasons for now. You big into college football, Allison? No,
I'm not. But my boyfriend is a scout, so it's kind of important to him. But at the same time, it's like you can't really compare the two because, college they're students, they're not employees. So if they were to get sick because of they're playing college football, there's so many more ramifications that go into that than it does in the NFL. And so I think there's a big difference.
You're right. It is because these guys are considered, they're adults, but they're still considered kids. Right. Because you're in school.
Right. Yeah.
And now when you're talking about NFL, they're technically grown, but you're still considering kids. But yeah, in the NFL now you're in that corporate job now. So we'll say that. Oh, Johnny Dean, Blake, I think I may have to disagree with you a bit on Troy. He, like Ed Reed, baited offense as much as guessing. That is what made those two so special. They both guessed. All DBs do that. You bait quarterbacks. Right. We're just talking about that particular play. He tried to bait and got beat. Tebow got it over. And it looks like I think it was Ike Hilliard or Ike Taylor covering him on that play, but it wasn't Ike's fault. Troy wasn't where he was supposed to be. And they caught a slant pass at full speed. It's kind of hard to stop somebody with nobody in front of them catching a pass at full speed. So, safety position. It's just Ed was faster than Troy. Troy was a great tackler, great rangy guy, but Troy couldn't match Ed's speed, if that makes sense. Ed Reed was a much better athlete than Troy, but Troy was a hell of an athlete, if that's saying in comparison.
Yeah, exactly.
Because freaking Ed Reed was running back punt returns at some time for the Ravens, and at just about every interception that Ed Reed caught at full speed, he was scoring. Troy did a lot of those on his own. One-handed catches off the ground. Like I said, they were both really great athletes. Between the two, there's really not too much difference. Than I would say it's just Ed Reed is just a little bit faster than Troy. But otherwise than that, they're pretty much both dominant safeties, both Hall of Fame worthy. Every safety that everybody could want on any roster, those two guys. Oh yeah, no doubt. And crazy, they were in the same division. Right? Yeah, exactly. Same division, that AFC North. You guys are tuning in. Sports Top 49 live with Blake Anthony every Tuesday at 3:30. Got my guest here, Allison Koehler, Kill Shot. Allison, I don't know if you got anything else. I said we could keep you on, or you guys can head out. I know you got a place to be. I still have like 15 minutes, so we can keep going if you'd like. I'm having a good time. Well, let's get to somebody else we got down here in the guest room. I say, speaking of doing large, we're gonna bring on My Cannabis Card, one of the sponsor of the. You like that, don't you? One of the sponsor of the Sports Web. I said, My Cannabis Card, you there, sir?
Can you hear me, Blake?
Yep, we hear you loud and clear. You hear him, Allison?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. Yeah, man. Just good to see you here. Good to see you doing your thing here, man. This is awesome. I'd like to see this happening, especially now, and people looking out for each other and watching out. this is a crazy time, man. We really do have to unite these times, take care of one another.
No
Absolutely.
So, what's going on? What do you have going on here today, man? What are you guys talking about? I just tuned in. I didn't get much time to see what you had going on.
I said,
What's the
Allison,
topics?
yep, Allison here covers USA Today's Steeler Wire. We talked into that because she's got plans to go on, so I wanted to get her on first.
Mhm.
We were talking about some of the questions, the Buccaneers. Some people talked about what the offense is going to look like, which I put out a great article. What is the 12 personnel offense, breaking down how the variations and the play advantages it comes out, because a lot of people may not understand what it is. And we were just talking about pretty much that, a lot of stuff, training camp, COVID-19. That's pretty much all you can talk about right now, because I believe right now the Steelers would have been playing the Buccaneers in preseason, if I'm not mistaken. They should have been played each other this week, if not last week, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right? They should have been playing.
They already played like a Hall of Fame game last week and everything. I mean, the Steelers had 5 preseason games this year, so I think they were pretty excited that that it just didn't happen.
I think everybody is.
It's crazy. We had no preseason. It's going to be unprecedented. It's going to be interesting to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried, wondering how many injuries we're going to end up seeing. But I mean, you have to get in where you fit in. What else are you going to do? It's just
that's a good question. I mean, I think there's going to be, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be shocked if there wasn't an uptick in injuries, because they happen every year, and that's with proper conditioning, OTA, preseason games, training camps. And so it's going to be interesting to see, what happens with the injury front, because, soft tissue injuries, things like that. I think they're going to be a lot higher this year than they have in the past.
I agree. And it's with COVID, it's just so much gray area with that. It's just like, it's definitely different week to week. So if a guy goes out, what if your star, you think of the worst, your star quarterback goes out and you have no depth. So is the season a crapshoot now? Now that you've lost a couple key games, division games and things like that, I think somebody might end up in the Super Bowl that shouldn't be there this year. I mean, just with that going on, I'm not sure if all the teams want to invest in a backup veteran quarterback. Like, it's just so many questions of what's going to happen. And I will give it to the NFL. The breakout of COVID-19 among the training camps and everything hasn't been as bad as I thought it was going to be. With being you have, a 52-man roster plus 80 guys right now running around training camp. I mean, they've been doing a good job. Surprisingly, I thought it was going to be a lot worse at the beginning and then come down. But they had a tough act to follow with the NBA and the NHL having multiple times not testing positive. Period. So I mean, it's a tough act to follow, being how you had the most time over everybody, which all this broke out. You had the off season, you had time to watch the NBA restart, watch the NHL restart. You watch over in Europe, all those guys are playing baseball and rugby. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, rugby is the closest thing to football, and they're playing that over there in Europe right now.
They are.
But they follow protocols, but that's a whole nother issue I'm not going to get into. But
exactly.
Not going to get into that.
No.
We don't even know if we're going to start school here in America. So, so my Cannabis Girl, why don't you tell everybody where they can find your stuff and what you got going on? What you said, okay, he dropped out. Guess it's Allison. Nothing wrong with that. Somebody had a question for Allison. I saw it over here. Where is it? There it is. No, ma'am. Allison, do you happen to know if Big Ben looks like he's in better shape? Did he lose weight?
He did lose weight. He lost a ton of weight, and it's funny because he looked like a big bear on the sidelines last year, with all that fur on his face and all that extra weight, and he looks really slim. And no, ma'am, I would go ahead and Google him right now and Google images, because he looks slender. You know what I mean? He actually looks to be in better physical shape than he has been in the past. Whether that's going to translate to the field or not, it's hard to tell because, of the elbow injury and things. But everybody's saying that, he's getting some really good throws in at camp and things like that. And it'll be interesting to see, how that plays out, in the regular season for sure. But yeah, he looks great. So,
Yeah, because I know you've been lining up interviews, talking to agents. That stuff's kind of fun. Trying to work it out makes you feel like you're like wheeling and dealing, talking to agents, trying to get these guys lined up. And and a lot of I talked to Alex Fleming, Fantasies and Flavors, and a Bucs Report. It's like when you talk to these guys, it's tough to try to get them engaged. So I always tell them, like, ask questions that nobody else is going to ask. Just get better engagement, with these players, because I think for you as guys, as journalists and guys that wants to do this stuff like this, you have to think that it's exciting for you to talk to these guys as you want to talk to these big name players and things like that. But then you have to think about it, their aspect. They answer the same damn questions a lot of the times. So you try to be unique and find things that you engage with these guys when you talk to them, talk about their home state, if you know something about where they're from and things like that, and you get much better reaction out of them. It is repetitive for them too, especially when not a whole lot of football going around. Johnny says something for you, Allison. Yeah, Big Ben is looking slim, but how will that affect him taking hits in the black and blue division is yet to be seen.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, he's still, even though he's trim now, he's still Big Ben. You know what I mean? I don't know if he's going to have, and again, with the elbow, he was feeling it for a couple of years. So it was never, and it happened when he was throwing downfield, Juju Smith-Schuster. So he wasn't hit, that it wasn't a hit that caused his elbow injury. So I don't think he's going to be one of those players where when they come back, they're a little bit more sketchy to get hit because they got hit and that would cause the injury. So Ben isn't going to have, I don't think he's going to have an issue in terms of he's still going to be able to I think he's still going to be able to shake guys off, if he needs to. He's always been hard. Even though he has been sacked a lot, there are a lot of times where he's been able to extend plays because he's so hard to take down.
Correct. It's like, well, I think they showed a clip. They say how you take Ben down, you got to take him up top. You try to, you're not going to take him down by the legs. You're not going to do it. And let's be honest, there's no such thing as a little Ben. There's Big Ben. And there's always been a Big Ben, and it can only be bigger Ben. So I don't think there's never going to be a time of little Ben.
Did you guys see the board? I was reading earlier that Bortles was linked to possibly being backing up Big Ben. Do you see anything about that?
Yeah. I mean, they have talked about bringing in Blake Bortles. I mean, internally, Pittsburgh-wise, I have no idea. Like, I don't have any information on that. But I pretty feel like any quarterback that's available is going to be linked, to the Steelers, because if you look at who's behind Ben, they're trash. So we
just talked about that.
Right, exactly.
There's no gap in between. There's no gap. There's no bridge between the two. It's this or that. What's that music? Right. That you can get with this or you can get with that. That's that's the only two between. I mean, the only difference between the two. And just look at, what was crazy is to look at the pushback when Nick Citro put out that with the Steelers Nation didn't even want Jameis Winston there. And I think they were scared to piss off Ben too with bringing that in. It's like they're so hush-hush about the backup quarterback position up in Pittsburgh. I don't know why, but it's been like a real issue there for some reason. Just so much tension when you talk about that in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, that was obviously a huge issue in the offseason. And everybody from the GM to the head coach to the president of the Steelers was saying, we're comfortable with Mason Rudolph. And it's like, comfortable? Like, dude, I don't want to be comfortable with it.
Ex-boyfriend.
I want to know that if something happens to the 38-year-old Ben Roethlisberger, if the guy who's coming in is going to be able to win games. And it's like, I don't want to be comfortable. Screw that.
Johnny Dean brings up a good point. So with the whole XFL thing, you're still technically part of the Tampa Bay Vipers still, right, Allison?
Maybe. I mean, that's the thing. I don't even know. I mean, there's rumors that they may go to Orlando, and I don't know, what the validity is with that. But I would think that if they stay in Tampa Bay, that I'm the one that they call, to cover them, since I have experience. But The Rock is in charge now, so it's not Vince McMahon anymore. So who knows what's going to happen?
I think you found the perfect guy in The Rock, being a guy that played in the CFL, the guy that had from the Miami Hurricanes, the good years with the Hurricanes, played on that rock. I think you found
the ballers. I mean, he really just he acted the role. He coming off of the way the last season of Ballers ended. I don't know if you watched it or not. With him acquiring ownership in the was it the Chiefs? Did either of you get a chance to see that?
I haven't seen the Ballers, but I heard it's pretty good.
So good. I gotta watch it.
It absolutely does. It fits him perfectly. He sort of starts at, it's loosely based on his, actual story, playing football in Miami, and then sort of coming out of that, ends up becoming like a sports agent and works his way up, ultimately to acquire ownership in an NFL team. He helps bring the Raider or the team to Vegas in the show. It was a really good show. Definitely recommend it.
Awesome.
So I think it's on Showtime.
Yep, I got to check it out. I keep telling you that. I just got to get there, dude. I'm kind of trying to finish watching Grimm right now. I'll probably move on to that. Yes, Grimm is old.
Blake, I'll let you go here, man. I just wanted to go ahead and show you some support here, brother. It's good to see you doing this. I want to let everybody know, we're live, mycannabiscard.com. There's a couple dozen qualifying conditions. We guarantee your medical marijuana card approval. You can do a fast track cannabis card evaluation, pre-qualify, obligation free in just a matter of minutes. You can visit the website. Phone number is it's a toll-free number, 1-833-4MMJ-DOC.
Say that again. My cannabis card. You kind of went out when you read the number.
1-833-4MMJ-DOC. So it's actually on Peters. You go look at the sports web. We're doing the title sponsorship for him, and check out the website, and it's pretty self-explanatory. The numbers listed there as well. But good to see you doing your thing, Blake, man, and definitely going to keep tuning in. Love to be able to come back sometime when I don't have a little munchkin running around here.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. We're all at home doing that. People walking by in the background. I see Allison looking at people like, is this what it's the new norm? It's the new norm, man.
It is. You got to.
And all we do is, like you said earlier, you support each other, you be there for each other, and that's what all the human race should do with all the social injustice stuff.
Absolutely.
If you've been doing this from the beginning, there's nothing new to you.
Yeah.
But that's the way everybody should do it. But I'll give you a proper outro there, Mr. My Cannabis Card. If you want to do it large, reach out to My Cannabis Card and get on My
Plants
Cannabis
over pills. Plants over pills.
Plants over pills. I don't do neither one of them. Alice might be interested.
I'm already on the website, man.
Absolutely. All right, guys. We'll holler at you later. I appreciate it, Blake. It was nice to meet you. Bye.
There you go. Alice, I don't know how much time you got left, but I've had a great time.
Yeah, man. I've had a wonderful time as well. We got to do this more often.
Yep, we will. Every Tuesday at 3:30.
Talk about, you know what I mean?
Yep, especially football, talking about multiple teams. Like, yeah, I can bring you. I'll see what you got going on next Tuesday. I'm trying to bring somebody else on. We can sit up here and chit chat for an hour. I can't do the elongated 3 hours. Like my mouth's going dry after an hour. So I don't know how Peter does the 3 hours.
I don't know.
My lips look like I've been eating powdered donuts now after talking an hour. So I don't know how Peter get all the blessings to him. I can't do it for 3 hours, but an hour I can definitely do and give it 110%.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Awesome, man. Well, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it, man.
Yep. So where can everybody find your work at USA Today and all that, Alex?
Yeah. So if you want to read my articles, you can go to SteelersWire.com. And they're all there. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm not all that active on there, but if you want to follow me, it's Steelers Wire AK. But there's also the Steelers Wire on Twitter, which, we post everything there. So that would be the place to go.
All right. Appreciate it. Appreciate having you on. Well, see if we can get you on next Tuesday. See what you got going on.
I like
love
it.
Having you. We'll do this more often, and stay safe out there, Allison.
All right, man. Peace.
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 Ain't nobody else can get an outro like that. If you're just tuning in, this is Sports Talk 49 live on BucsReport.com, giving it to you 110%. Now, I got to you guys in the comments section. Now, let me open back up the phone lines because I know somebody tried to call earlier, and I kind of hit the button, which I didn't want to do. I just didn't want all that going on at one time and audio get distorted and things like that because I want people to hear what you got to say. So phone lines is open. 727-475-1882. Call in and you know what to do and be live on Sports Talk 49. So let's get to the comments section. Thank you both for answering questions. Yeah, no problem, man. I try to get to it best you can. And, she's got her own schedule. So I wanted to make sure to get what she got to say out and things like that. Because she's, everybody's got stuff to do. And I am in the daytime, it's not like at night where, more people are at the house and done with everything. So I just try to get in and get out. Bob and weave, you know what I'm saying? Big Ben's looking slim. We talked about that. Yep, we talked about the Vipers. That's still up in the air. They might go to Orlando. Who knows? But I do like the move with The Rock taking over the organization, taking over the league, so to speak. So we'll see how that goes. Let me move to what I had topic. Refs. The refs opt out is Thursday, which is today's the 11th, so that's the 13th. They have the option to opt out, get $30K and job security for 2021. Shit, almost. That's almost a no-brainer. If you want to opt out, if you're really worried, because I ain't gonna say most of them. Some of them are older and they might have health concerns and things like that. Because the players, I think, opt out total was either 67 or 69. I think the league put out 67. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's not wrong being wrong, but it's around the 67 or 69 marker. And that was, I believe, off their own website. Again, this is all on the Landry Football Network. Check out Peter Blake and the guys tonight, Al Keck, and the A Gap with all those guys coming on later tonight. Tuesday is always fully packed of stuff, fully packed. It's all right there. Make sure to check that out, you guys, later today. Tuesday is a full packed schedule of stuff going on. Joshua Cole Allen, what's going on? Always check him out on the Audible and BucsReport.com, giving articles and all that stuff. All right, here we go. Caller, you're live on Sports Talk 49. What's your name and where you calling from?
My name is Johnny, and I'm calling from Pittsburgh.
I should have known. What's going on, brother?
Not much. I actually wanted to talk to Allison, but that's fine. You're okay.
She's better to look at than I am. So
I messaged her my question anyway. So anyhow, let's go back to Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu.
Shoot.
They are Hall of Famers for one specific reason, because they knew what they were doing. Yes, I agree with you. 95% of the players on the field make guesses at their position when it comes to what plays coming up and stuff like that.
Correct.
Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu were bookworms and film tape worms, and they would definitely bait their quarterback.
Yep.
And any offensive line, they would watch their techniques. You played. You watch the techniques, you can pick up on things, you can see what their footwork's doing. Like with Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis would lean to his left and act like he's making a bull charge, right? Mm-hmm. And then he would drop out of that somehow, which is a very hard move to make. You know that. Mm-hmm. Drop out of that and fall back in their coverage. And that was amazing. He would bait people like that. And Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu were great at that, dude. That's why they're Hall of Famers. I agree with the most of the time people are guessing because they never evolved beyond that point.
Right.
But Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu, they evolved. They ask Tom Brady. Tom Brady will tell you all about Ed Reed baiting him and shit.
Yep, absolutely. And that's what made them great. They guessed more right than they did wrong. You can't guess and be guessed wrong all the time, then you're just getting beat. But that's how you do it, watching tape and things like that. It wasn't like, and I should have been more elaborative, and that's why you're always here. You watch tape, and that's why you bait. You watch tape and watch tendencies of quarterbacks. You watch tape to find out what they do in a certain situation, so that way you can get over top and make those plays and make those interceptions. As I said before, Reed was returning interceptions for touchdowns. You were scared to death to throw that ball near that guy.
Right, absolutely, man. And Polamalu, you never knew where he was coming from.
Nope. He will be.
That guy would make you think he's coming on a quarterback rush, and then all of a sudden he's taking the ball and going 40 yards from the center of the field.
Yep. And you don't know how he got there. He got lost in translation in the play, and you just see that hair popping out of anywhere. And by the time you saw that, it's like seeing a shark's fin out of the water. It's too late. He done got the ball, and he's running the other direction.
Absolutely. Allison was great today. It was good to see her back. Like seeing her in action. And it would be nice to see her back with the Vipers too, but who knows what's going to happen there. As far as that goes, I'm not convinced that they're going to do anything. I think that was a buyout to save Vince McMahon from all the
failures.
lawsuits.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we'll see. I hope that, because I like to have a platform for guys like Oakman and guys like that were done wrong and have a chance to show that they could still play and get another chance at playing. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But it's
not going to happen this year because with college football being pushed back.
Oh yeah,
I don't see an opening for spring league right now.
Nope, I agree with you. A lot of everything is hurry up and wait right now. Not much can happen. We don't even know if college football is going to go on, for God's sake. And everybody knows I'm going to watch my Tar Heels. Somebody had a question on here, Johnny. If COVID cases start popping up during the season, but the NFL decides to continue the season, do the players not have the option to opt out anymore? I guess if a player said they're sitting out I guess he finished.
NFL would fire them.
Oh, okay. He said, yeah, NFL would find them. I said, yep. You would. That's why they had the opt-out option.
Yeah, but I don't think the NFL would fire them. Is the NFL going to fire like Ben Roethlisberger? We're talking about the Steelers. Well, let's stay there.
Well,
if he decides to opt out, are they going to fire Ben Roethlisberger? No, they're not going to fire Ben Roethlisberger. Nor are they going to fire any. That's something that didn't get brought up. The veteran team that the Steelers have right now, they actually have the best chance of making it through a season right now and being successful, along with the Ravens and those older. The teams that have a solid foundation like that, they have older vets in there that know what they're doing and take care of themselves.
Much easier.
They don't need all that time and practice to be successful. Those guys are the guys you're going to have to watch out for this season.
Yep, they're going to they're going to thrive.
Yeah, they're not going to. You're not going to take a season where you're worried about losing anybody. If they opt out, you're not firing them because you have to replace them next season.
Well, he said fine. He said fine them. I thought it was fire. He said fine them.
Oh, he said fine them. Yeah, they probably fine them, but they're still working. Last I heard, they're still working on the details moving into the season because it's all in flux. They've got the foundation of the agreement set, but the details are still kind of in flux. So that's what I've been hearing, but who knows?
Yeah, it's unless we talk to somebody that's really down in there, got their ear to the ground, and really getting true information. You're getting a lot of third-party information and not sure what exactly is going on. Because I mean, it's been shaky since that, and I think you said it. I think Al Keck said it. I think Peter said it. These guys should have been done, guys. You guys had the most time to wait. You've had the most time. You guys should have been ready for this. The NBA figured out a system. The NHL figured out a system.
Understand too, this whole situation's been in flux all along. There's been no direct leadership in this country.
Nope.
To put everybody on the same track and go one way.
And then we're not going to get into politics. But yes, you're right.
Soccer has done pretty well, but they've had their problems too.
Yep.
The only thing that's really actually done well to try to emulate is hockey, and you can't really do that with football.
Nope. Nope, you can't really.
It's in flux. Everybody's learning on the run, dude.
This is something that nobody could have seen coming, man. And I just hopefully everybody learns from this, and for future, in case something ever happens like this in the future, with different protocols. I mean, that's all you're doing right now. Everything's in the air except for NHL and baseball and hockey right now. But NFL, especially being contact every play, this is a different kind of animal. It's a different kind of animal. Johnny, you got anything else, brother?
No, that's it, bud.
Appreciate it, Johnny. Stay safe out there. Always appreciate your input.
All right, later, bud.
Yep. And speaking of Johnny Dean putting in that, it's almost that time for me. It's been an hour. Don't want to keep you guys too long. You guys sneaking in the bathroom, watching my show and things like that and checking it out. I appreciate you guys. As always, man, every Tuesday, man. Every Tuesday, check me out. I'm right here. BucsReport.com. Sports Talk 49 right here. Again, you got Big Al Keck coming. Big Sexy coming on. Got Peter Blake coming on, giving it to you 3 hours long. And you have you doing it long. You got my cannabis card coming on. So rhyming all day today. It's feeling good. Must have been that triple shot of coffee. Appreciate you guys all on here. Talking in the question section, everything. Got to you guys. Got there, Allison. We got through it today. It was a good day. It was good. Out an hour went by quick. How quick? I can't wait for the season to go, so I'll see you guys more doing pre and post game because I got Drew Brees to a T coming up for the offseason, coming up for the pregame, how to stop him and things like that. I got him down. I got the offense down. I got him, guys. Now, if it's a Todd Bowles listens to me and get the scheme, he can call me at any time. Blake Anthony 49 at any time, and I'll sit in that film room and watch it with you and show you how to stop Drew Brees come week 1. So, with all that being said, I'll leave this as we always do. Well, let me put this up first. Make sure to check out the rest of the shows. Check out everybody. Mr. Jacob will be on YouTube with the A-Gap. Make sure to check out Al Keck. Be sure to check out Peter Blake and the Sports Web. And then tomorrow you got the A-Gap, Thursday Night Live with Charles Richardson, and you got the Sports Web. Make sure to check out Alex Fleming on the weekends. Make sure to check out everybody. Cup of Ray, Buck, What You Heard, Red Flag Podcast, all these guys. As the list goes on, that's the connections we're making. And that's what we do here on Bucs Report. And that's what I do on Sports Tech 49. So with all that being said, we'll end this as we always do. You're the master of everything. What you do with your life, what you do with it is entirely up to you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Stay safe. God bless. And as always, fire them.
Mike here from Tires to Go, and today I'm going to inform you about the amazing tools that Tires to Go provide to get the customers what they need. As you know, we have the real same as cash, but we also have Snap financing. We use Snap pretty much to provide the customers the same equipment as they were buying cash on payments. Isn't that amazing? Pretty much what we do, you come indoors, we get you the application right away, we'll get you approved, and we'll get you the safe, affordable tires that you need and pay it off in 3 months. Simple, easy, affordable. Why not come to Tires to Go, where you get the real, same as cash.
At Life's a Beach Realty, we're all about life on the beach. Stunning Panama City Beach and one of the most beautiful properties on the Gulf Coast, Shores of Panama. Radiant, elegant, and spectacular. Steps away from white sugar sand, every room overlooks the turquoise of the Gulf of Mexico. Come in for your tour today. Life's a Beach Realty is your gateway to Shores of Panama, the shores, and a whole lot more.